Welcome everyone to our class. Today we will continue the chapter Hazard and Disaster, and here we will discuss about disaster management. Okay. So first of all, I will give you proper examples of the disaster. Okay, like you know that on May 24, 2019, we got a weather forecasting from the meteorological department of Alipur. It was for the deep depressions which is formed over the Bay of Bengal, and that has very intensified the cyclonic storm. That name is Ayla. Okay, and it is after the forecasting in the within the next 24 hours there is a heavy rain, the strong wind blowing over the coastal area and throughout the West Bengal regions. But and also there is a the warn to the people who are going to the coastal regions and for the fishings and the other portions of throughout the West Bengal. And the actual Ayla hit in the coast of the West Bengal on 25th May 2019, and it is very powerful and it is effect like this. The date of landform is 25th May 2019, and the hazard type is the cyclone storm with the sea surge, flood, etc. And the damage area like the mainly the coastal area of West Bengal and Bangladesh, and died over 250 people. Okay, and injured and missing like over 800 people, and affected area like several 5 million lost home. Okay, and the state of West Bengal is the here you can see this. Every time there is a natural calamities and the sometimes there is an earthquake. Because of it, the geomorphological climate and the seismic conditions, here the natural disasters strike it every root of the economic growth of the state, and the flood and the cyclonic storm occur every year in the different part of the state. Okay, and you know it inflicts the huge loss of the property, causing the untold hardship, trauma of the lives of the peoples. And the coastal areas of the West Bengal is situated at the estuary of the river Hooghly, and that regions is very the hazard prone regions. Here every time you can see different type of erosions, cyclone, tidal surge, flood, that are always happen here. And here few hazards are common like earthquake, tsunami, landslide, flood, flash flood, tidal surge, drought, etc. Also there is another type of hazards is there like hailstorm, famines, windstorm, tropical cyclone, heavy monsoon rain, etc. Okay, now here we will discuss about the concept of disaster management, the role of the student. You know the basic role for the student is awareness of what to do during and the after any disaster. And you know student have that nature to great deal with the courage and stamina in the collective sense, and their combined effect are the very helpful to the society. Okay, and our educational system should include the training program to the student in the school level to get the that acquainted with the helping nature at the time when the voluntary and the spontaneous approach are essential for the sake of the relief of disasters or the others. Okay, and you know that a disaster is the calamities which affect the society to a great extent, and it needs the united effort to overcome the disease. And that's why the disaster management is essential, where the youth play a vital role in tackling these situations as fast as possible. And you know if the students are properly trained, they can rush that area or that affected regions within second, and they can help the disaster management team to quick overcome that situations and the rehabilitations resettlement of the victim at the any kind of hazards, like in flood, in disasters, in the like in flood, in earthquake, in drought, etc. Okay, and they can also spread awareness to the precautions what we need the for the after and before the disasters to be taken and during the disasters. Okay, next here, the disaster management strategy in West Bengal. You know, the government of West Bengal recognize the need to have the disaster management policy with the proactive, comprehensive and the sustained approach to the disaster management reduce to detrimental effect of disaster on the overall socio-economic development of the state. The West Bengal government believes that disaster management is the holistic approach that is inclusive of all the activities before, during and after the disaster. And you know, the state of West Bengal is suffering by the different kind of hazards from the past. So the West Bengal state disaster management policy considered the understanding of the hazard and disaster and their behavior and the risks they pose to the community and to the fundamental to achieving the success in the disaster management program. Now here we will discuss about the pre-disaster phase. There is a few permanent precautions measures should taken to avoid the risks and the building collapse. For the constructions of the building, for the guidelines, for the codes should be formulated so that disaster can be avoided. Roads should be constructed and maintenance in such a way that they can resist an unavoidable conditions of the disaster. And here the water supply system and the communications network, electricity lines should be constructed in such a way that they reduce and resist the damage which is caused by the disaster. Okay, and large public building like the community hall, school, college, hospital, dharmasala, that should be must be resistant power to any kind of disaster like earthquake, flood, cloud burst, etc. And the long term measure to control the control or the disaster which is required the elaborate research and investigations. That's why such institutions and research centers should be developed. Okay, here we will discuss about the post disaster measures. What we do after the when the disaster already happened, what we do then. Here the some measures are included here, like include the rescue measures and the relief work, maintenance the law and order, prevention the trespassing and the looting, etc., evacuations of the peoples from that area, recovery of the dead bodies and their disposal from the disaster prone area or whether disastered area, supply the food and the drinking water, supply the medicines and the medical care, building of the temporary shelter like the tents and the metal shed also be built there quickly, and the restorations of transport and the communications line as soon as possible, reconstructions of damage and the damaged area to rehabilitations the peoples. And as you see the picture, post disaster and pre-disaster mean, post disaster means response, recovery and reconstructions, and pre-disasters mean preventions, mitigations and the perpenditions. Okay, here the implementations framework is based on the premise the disaster management is not separate sector or discipline. It is the approach for the solving problem that the facility disaster management, harassing the skill and the resource across the stockholder. Therefore, a key element of the policy framework is to leverage and the resource and the capabilities of the existing entitled and build the new capabilities wherever necessary. Okay, and while for most attractive, the implementations agencies remain the local authorities and the government functions at the state level. And WBSDMA provides the overall directions and guidelines that keep the focus on the various entitles on the disaster management. Okay, so this is all about the disaster management. I hope all of you understood. If there is any queries, you can ask me in the comment below. Okay, if there is query, you can comment, or you can ask me directly. Okay, I hope you understood. If you like the video, please like it and share, and please subscribe my channel. Thank you.